Amid much speculation, archaeologists in Egypt have unsealed a massive black sarcophagus, a huge coffin found at a construction site in Alexandria. Some have been wondering if it might reveal the body of Alexander the Great or unleash a deadly curse.
In the long sweep of human history, there are legends. And then there is Alexander the Great, a name that echoes endlessly through time. A conqueror who reshaped the very map of the ancient world, he remains one of history's most towering figures. Yet beyond his battles and his vast empire lies a mystery that has baffled scholars for centuries: the lost resting place of Alexander himself. Today, we set out on a quest to explore that mystery, to uncover the secrets surrounding a man whose ambition seemed limitless. The location of his tomb has become a riddle that has confounded historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters alike. Join us as we embark on this epic journey, following a trail of clues that may finally lead us to the sacred ground where Alexander the Great now lies. Alexander the Great. The astonishing rise of Alexander the Great left an indelible mark on history. His legacy paints him as a brilliant strategist, a visionary leader, and an undefeated conqueror whose influence still resonates across continents. Born in 356 BC in the Macedonian city of Pella, Alexander began a life that would secure his place among the most celebrated military commanders of all time. Although young, he displayed extraordinary courage and intelligence, and the stories of his daring campaigns and monumental victories continue to inspire generation after generation. His childhood was anything but ordinary. As the son of King Philip II of Macedon and Queen Olympias, Alexander grew up surrounded by power and prestige. His education was entrusted to none other than Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander's intellect flourished. He developed an insatiable curiosity, a love for literature, and a fascination with philosophy, passions that would later shape his worldview and his approach to warfare. But tragedy struck in 336 BC when King Philip II was assassinated. At just 20 years old, Alexander suddenly inherited the throne and the immense responsibilities that came with it. Macedon was rising as a dominant power, but internal unrest threatened its stability. Despite his youth, Alexander proved himself a natural leader. With determination and tactical brilliance, he crushed uprisings, secured his authority, and laid the foundation for an empire that would transform the ancient world and echo throughout the ages. Conquering the mighty Persian Empire. Alexander's unquenchable hunger for conquest soon drew his gaze eastward, toward the vast and powerful Persian Empire ruled by King Darius III. In 334 BC, he launched his first major campaign into Asia Minor, marking the beginning of his legendary march through Persia. The Battle of the Granicus River became an early testament to his unmatched leadership. Alexander charged into danger at the front lines, displaying extraordinary courage despite impossible odds. Thanks to his brilliant tactics and relentless determination, he secured a stunning victory that set the tone for the campaigns to come. As his expedition continued, the world watched in astonishment. In 333 BC, at the Battle of Issus, Alexander faced Darius III himself in a fierce showdown. The clash ended with the Persian king abandoning the battlefield, leaving behind his family and vast treasures. This decisive triumph cemented Alexander's reputation as a force the ancient world could not ignore. Yet it was the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC that forever carved his name into history. Confronted by a massive Persian army, Alexander executed a daring and ingenious strategy that exploited every weakness in Darius's ranks. With flawless precision, he shattered the Persian lines and brought down Darius's empire. This moment elevated him to the highest ranks of history's greatest military strategists. The backbone of Alexander's triumphs. Following his conquest of Persia, Alexander's thirst for glory only intensified. His ambition drove him further east, sweeping through new lands with relentless speed and determination, astonishing the world with each victory. At the heart of his success stood the Macedonian phalanx, a disciplined and near unstoppable infantry force. With their long spears and unified formations, these soldiers formed the solid backbone of his army. Alongside them rode his elite cavalry units, most notably the renowned companion cavalry, led by his loyal friend and general Hephaestion. In 327 BC, Alexander set his sights on the mysterious lands of India, where he encountered one of his toughest opponents, King Porus. The fierce battle along the banks of the Hydaspes River tested every ounce of Alexander's strategic genius. And yet, once again, he emerged victorious. What makes this victory remarkable is not just the triumph itself, but how deeply Alexander was moved by Porus's bravery. Impressed by his courage, Alexander chose to form an alliance with the very king he had just defeated, a testament to his respect for valor. By 324 BC, Alexander's empire stretched from Greece to Egypt and all the way to India's distant frontiers. His conquests, unmatched in scale and daring, secured his place as one of the most extraordinary leaders the world has ever known. But as his ambitions soared higher, his weary soldiers struggled to keep pace. Their morale was pushed to its limits by endless campaigns, and whispers of exhaustion grew louder within the army. Even more troubling, Alexander's health began to deteriorate. Still, he pushed forward, driven by the same fierce determination that had carried him across continents. His spirit remained unbroken, and his legacy stands today as the story of a man who dared to challenge the world itself. How Alexander's death shook an empire. Alexander's death. In the vibrant spring of 323 BC, inside the luxurious halls of Babylon's great Nebuchadnezzar III palace, a heavy shadow fell over the life of Alexander the Great. The unstoppable conqueror, whose name had echoed across continents, was suddenly struck by a severe illness. As the days passed, the presence of death crept closer, casting a somber veil over his extraordinary journey. News of his worsening condition spread swiftly through the ranks of his loyal soldiers. These seasoned warriors, who had marched across the world under his command, gathered anxiously outside the palace gates. Their hearts were weighed down with fear and sorrow as they prayed desperately for the recovery of their beloved king. Inside, in the final moments of his remarkable life, Alexander's once unbreakable spirit flickered like a dying flame. Summoning the last of his strength, he called for his trusted generals and closest companions. His voice, faint and weakened by illness, carried the depth of a lifetime's ambition and the gravity of a world-changing legacy. With quiet intensity, he shared his final wishes, words so soft yet so powerful that they moved even the toughest warriors to tears. He urged them to meet me in the afterlife as noble and valiant souls, a message that revealed both his courage and his acceptance of fate. His generals understood at once that they were witnessing the end of an era, and that the world was about to lose a leader unlike any other. On the fateful day of June 10th or 11th, 323 BC, at only 32 years old, Alexander the Great drew his final breath. In that solemn instant, the ancient world mourned the passing of more than a brilliant commander. It grieved the loss of a visionary, a legend, a titan among men. The shock of his death rippled across his vast empire, from the sacred cities of Greece to the distant frontiers of India. A hero's light had gone out, leaving behind a legacy that would continue to inspire humanity for millennia. Alexander's elusive final resting place. Alexander's elusive final resting place. When Alexander died, he left behind one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, a puzzle that has fascinated scholars, explorers, and treasure hunters for centuries. Where is his final resting place? Historical accounts indicate that his body was ultimately taken to Alexandria in Egypt, yet the precise location of his tomb has never been discovered. It remains hidden, buried beneath layers of sand, time, and intrigue. One of the earliest clues to this mystery lies in Alexander's own aspirations. Deep within the sweeping desert lies the Siwa Oasis, a place whispered to hold ancient knowledge carried on desert winds. It was here that an oracle declared Alexander to be the son of Zeus, a moment that profoundly shaped his identity and destiny. According to historical writings shortly before his death, Alexander expressed a passionate wish. He wanted to be buried in the sacred precincts of the temple of Zeus Ammon, located in the heart of the Siwa Oasis. To him, this was holy ground, a place where divine approval had once been bestowed upon him. Yet fate had other plans. Following Alexander's death, his successors were plunged into a fierce struggle for power. His body became more than a relic. It was a symbol of legitimacy, a way to claim authority over the vast empire he had carved from Greece to India. Embalmed and revered, Alexander's remains became the ultimate prize in this political battle. This conflict eventually led to his body being transported from Babylon to Alexandria, where he was intended to be laid to rest. But exactly where in this bustling Mediterranean city he was buried has remained a mystery ever since. Over the ages, countless theories have emerged, almost as numerous as the grains of sand in the Egyptian desert. Some argue that his magnificent tomb lies hidden beneath modern Alexandria, buried under centuries of construction and urban life. Others believe it may have been swallowed by the sea, lost to rising waters that reshaped the coastline over millennia. Despite endless searches, the precise location continues to slip through our fingers, keeping the enigma of Alexander's final resting place alive for generation after generation. Ptolemy's bold act. One of the most intriguing clues in the hunt for Alexander's tomb centers on the daring actions of Ptolemy, one of Alexander's closest generals and later the ruler of Egypt. After Alexander's death, Ptolemy made a move so bold that it forever altered the course of history. Tradition suggested that Alexander's body should have been returned to Macedonia. Instead, Ptolemy intercepted the funeral procession and redirected it toward Egypt, a decision that shocked his contemporaries. He transported the great conqueror's remains to Memphis, the ancient capital of Egypt, which became Alexander's first resting place. But Ptolemy's ambitions did not end there. Recognizing the immense symbolic power of Alexander's body, he orchestrated a second, monumental transfer. This time, the embalmed remains were moved to Alexandria, the magnificent city founded by Alexander himself. Named in his honor and shaped by his vision, Alexandria was a far more fitting resting place for a man who had transformed the world. Importantly, Ptolemy didn't frame his actions as a political grab, at least not publicly. Instead, he claimed divine approval, pointing to the oracle at the Serapeum, a temple dedicated to Serapis, the hybrid Greco-Egyptian deity. By securing the oracle's blessing, Ptolemy attempted to forge a spiritual link between himself and Alexander, using this divine endorsement to legitimize his own rule over Egypt. Through this strategic blend of religious authority and political brilliance, Ptolemy positioned himself as the rightful heir to Alexander's legacy. His audacity, cunning, and determination to secure both Alexander's body and reputation in Egypt leave us with a fascinating historical puzzle, a mystery that continues to captivate researchers and historians to this very day. Resplendent rulers and sacred secrets. The third clue opens a fascinating chapter, one woven from the accounts of illustrious visitors who claimed to have seen Alexander's sacred resting place within the ancient city of Alexandria. These prominent figures, spanning centuries, lend powerful weight to the belief that Alexander's tomb was once a celebrated and accessible monument. Among the earliest of these visitors was Julius Caesar, who arrived in Alexandria in 48 BCE during his dramatic conflict with Pompey. In the midst of the turmoil, Cleopatra, the radiant queen of Egypt and a proud member of the Ptolemaic dynasty, sought an alliance with Caesar. Whispers from history tell us that she too visited Alexander's tomb, a gesture that reveals the enduring reverence for the great Macedonian conqueror. Cleopatra's fate would later intertwine with that of Mark Antony, another distinguished figure said to have paid his respects at the tomb. Their ally-turned-rival, Augustus, the first Roman emperor, also enters this mysterious narrative. Historical sources say that these powerful leaders not only visited the tomb, but offered sacrifices and precious gifts in honor of Alexander. The historical record adds even more depth through the writings of scholars like Strabo, the famed geographer who described the tomb as a magnificent mausoleum containing a gleaming golden sarcophagus, a sight said to shine like the sun. As the centuries passed, the stories became even more intriguing. The biographer Plutarch recounts a striking anecdote. While paying his respects, Augustus accidentally broke off a small piece of Alexander's nose as he kissed the mummified body. Another historian, Cassius Dio, adds that Emperor Septimius Severus later ordered the tomb to be sealed off, protecting it from damage and curiosity seekers. This cascade of testimonies, emperors, rulers, scholars, and statesmen, all acknowledging Alexander's tomb, forms a vivid mosaic of homage and fascination. Their accounts lend remarkable credibility to the existence of this revered burial site, deepening the enigma that surrounds Alexander's life, death, and legacy. Did the sea swallow Alexander's tomb? Delving into the enigma of the missing tomb. The fourth clue draws us into a web of mystery and historical intrigue that stretches across centuries: the disappearance of Alexander's monumental tomb. After the 4th century CE, references to his resting place vanish from historical records, leaving behind only questions and silence. Our journey begins with the Roman soldier and historian Ammianus Marcellinus. In 361 CE, he wrote what is considered the final known account of the tomb. According to his record, Emperor Constantius II visited Alexander's burial site that year. After this moment, the historical trail goes cold. The silence that follows is unsettling. What happened to this grand monument that once drew emperors, scholars, and rulers from across the ancient world? We're left to wonder. Was the tomb destroyed by nature, lost to time, or deliberately erased by human hands? Though history hides the truth, several theories offer plausible explanations. First, the relentless passage of time may have taken its toll. Alexandria faced countless natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, and fires, each capable of inflicting severe damage. The city also endured waves of conflict: the Jewish revolt of 115 CE, the Kitos War of 117 CE, the Palmyrene invasion of 270 CE, Emperor Aurelian's sacking in 273 CE, and the Arab conquest in 642 CE. Any of these turbulent events could have harmed or destroyed the tomb. Adding to the mystery is Alexandria's unstable geography. Built atop shifting tectonic plates, the city has long been vulnerable to seismic upheavals. The steady rise of sea levels over centuries has swallowed large portions of the ancient coastline. It's possible that Alexander's tomb now lies beneath the sea, lost under a watery veil. Another possibility is far darker: plunder and vandalism. The tomb was believed to contain lavish treasures, gold ornaments, gemstones, ceremonial weapons, and relics of a legendary era. Such wealth would have attracted thieves and invaders seeking fortune or revenge. Beyond greed, religious and political hostility may also have driven groups to deface or destroy the tomb in an attempt to erase Alexander's memory and extinguish the cult that revered him. Yet, there is another, more hopeful theory. Perhaps a guardian, someone loyal to Alexander or devoted to his legacy, intervened before the tomb could be destroyed. This protector may have secretly moved the tomb or hidden it somewhere within Alexandria's maze-like streets. Others suggest that a compassionate ruler or priest, recognizing the tomb's sacred significance, deliberately buried or concealed it beneath layers of earth and rubble, shielding it from looters and future chaos. These compelling clues and theories spark a tantalizing thought. Alexander's final resting place may still lie hidden somewhere beneath Alexandria, If so, it remains one of history's greatest undiscovered treasures, protected by time, mystery, and the shifting sands of the ancient world. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Despite countless searches, Alexander the Great's tomb is still one of history's greatest mysteries. Many are passionate about finding it, and recent discoveries keep hope alive. Archaeologist Calliope Limnios Papacosta has spent over 20 years digging in Alexandria's Shatby Gardens, uncovering what may be part of the ancient royal quarter, along with an old statue of Alexander himself. But is she close to the truth, or does Alexandria still guard its secrets? Recently, construction workers in Alexandria's Sidi Garba district uncovered a massive granite sarcophagus buried 16 feet underground. Measuring 9 feet long and dating back to the Ptolemaic era, it held 3 skeletons and a strange reddish-brown liquid, sparking wild speculation that it could be connected to Alexander or his successors. Another theory takes the mystery even farther, to Venice. Historian Andrew Chugg suggests Alexander's mummified body may lie beneath the altar of St. Mark's Basilica. The shared symbol of the winged lion, Venice's deep ties with Alexandria, medieval travellers claiming to see Alexander's tomb in Venice, and a sarcophagus fragment found in 1811 have all fueled this idea. Some even believe it could be linked to Nectanebo II, the last native pharaoh of Egypt and, according to legend, Alexander's ancestor. Still, without solid archaeological proof, the mystery remains unsolved. Where do you think Alexander the Great truly rests? The Castor Tomb. Greece's discovery of the massive Castor tomb at Amphipolis has sparked new theories about Alexander the Great's final resting place. Built in the late 4th century BCE, the same period as Alexander's death, the tomb is the largest ever found in Greece, decorated with grand architecture that hints at a very important occupant. Excavations began in 2012 under archaeologist Katerina Peristeri. The 500-metre circular enclosure leads to 4 chambers guarded by sphinxes, elegant caryatids, and a detailed mosaic showing the abduction of Persephone. Inside, archaeologists found the remains of 5 individuals: an elderly woman, 2 adult men, a newborn, and a cremated person, alongside weapons, armour, coins, and coffin fragments. Their identities remain unknown, but the rich Macedonian symbols suggest someone of high status. Alexander's hidden dynasty. Another theory suggests Alexander may rest among the royal tombs of Macedon. Near ancient Aigai, the old capital and burial site of Macedonian kings, archaeologists have uncovered richly furnished tombs dating to the exact era of Alexander's death. These tombs, possibly belonging to his family and dynasty, raise the question: could Alexander himself lie here, hidden among his ancestors? Tomb 2 and its possible link to Alexander Tomb 2, protected by a grand vaulted entrance and twin sphinxes, reveals 2 chambers. One holding a stone sarcophagus with a golden box containing a man's cremated remains, and another with a golden chest containing a woman's ashes. Rich artwork, lion hunts, rosettes, stars, shields, helmets, and Macedonian symbols suggests the tomb belonged to someone of great importance. Most historians believe the man inside is Philip II, Alexander the Great's father, making this site a powerful connection to Alexander's own story. Tomb Iti's mysterious connection. If Tomb 2 belongs to Philip II and Cleopatra Eurydice, then where is Alexander? Some scholars turn to the simpler Tomb 1, often called Tomb Worst, which, despite being looted, contains a stunning wall painting of Persephone's abduction. This artwork hints at a heroic or even divine figure. Nearby traces of a shrine suggest the tomb once served as a sacred place of worship. Its location and alignment match ancient descriptions of Alexander's tomb in Alexandria, adding to the mystery. The Persephone imagery echoes themes in Alexander's life: his visit to the Siwa oasis, his association with Zeus Ammon, and myths surrounding his death and divine ascent. So the question remains: Is Alexander's tomb in Egypt, Macedonia, or somewhere still undiscovered?